Hi guys, I just thought I would jump on today and have a chat to you a little bit about kind of what I do when I'm feeling overwhelmed and unmotivated. I'm sure you've all been there, and I just thought I would go through some of the steps that I take to get myself out of that kind of funk. I guess there's lots of different reasons why I feel that I get in that place. I think one of the things is giving too much. So when I find that I'm saying yes to too many things, I start to get quite overwhelmed. Sometimes it is expecting too much of myself, whether that's just unrealistic expectations with things that I have on my plate already. But one thing that I find when I start comparing myself to others, so whether that's, potentially spending too much time on social media, not feeling like I'm not measuring up, like I'm not doing enough, whatever it is, that can bring on those feelings for me. And how it manifests for me, one of the things that I notice is I wake up and my jaw is really sore. So when I am stressed, I grind my teeth and I clench my jaw. It's very unattractive, but it is a sure sign for me that there's something going on. Another thing that I do is I break out in kind of like contact dermatitis, like eczema-y stuff on my hands. So that's another kind of sign from my body that I need to get something right. The other thing is that quite often I get a little bit short of breath. And the reason that is because I'm breathing kind of almost from the top of my lungs instead of taking big diaphragmatic breaths. And so those are kind of three things that I find that I help to be able to recognize that there's stuff going on. So the first thing that I do when I find that I'm in this place of just feeling completely overwhelmed is I change the language in my head. So instead of, that conversation of I'm so busy, I can't get this done, I'm not good enough, all that kind of stuff, I stop and I change what I'm speaking to myself. All right, so I might start saying things like, I am competent, I am disciplined, things like that are going to be positive, that are going to be, affirmations to yourself that speak truth to the situation. The second thing I do is I write lists. I'm such a massive list girl. So for me, it's hard copy. I have a beautiful diary that I just, usually my top 3 priorities for that day. Everything else, I have a kind of a longer list of other things that don't necessarily need to happen that day. But yeah, top 3 most urgent priorities that day, realistic amount, so 3 that you can get done in a day. Some people use Google Calendar to kind of block out their time for particular things that they want to do. I think that works really well. As I said, I'm a hard copy girl. I love that satisfaction of just ticking off things. But always go back to my lists, write it down. If it's not in the diary, it often doesn't happen. My husband can attest to that. Third is Delegate. So this is something that I've kind of only just started learning, but delegation is so key. So there are things in your life that you can enlist help for. So whether that is doing online shopping instead of going to the supermarket, whether that is swapping some babysitting time with a girlfriend, whether, she can have your kids, you can have hers, just so you have some space and some time. Maybe that's investing in a couple of hours where a cleaner will come and do some work, or, whatever it is. Are there things in your life that your time could be better spent elsewhere? That you want to delegate out. If you've got family around you, then that is a huge advantage. I don't, so I rely quite heavily on my friendship group, which is great. But the fourth one that I try and do when I'm starting to feel overwhelmed is I get up earlier. Getting up before Hope wakes up is so important. I can usually set my alarm like 5:30, and that 1 hour before she wakes is often such golden time for me. It doesn't necessarily have to be an hour spent doing productive work. That can be self-care time, which I'm going to get to in a minute. That can be time where you are just tending to yourself. So getting up earlier, and of course going to bed earlier, is key. Number 5. So prioritize self-care. I know that when people get busy, when they are feeling overwhelmed, this is often one of the first things that actually go out the window. But doing some exercise, making sure that you are nourishing your body well, these are often really game-changing things to do during this time when, you know, everything is really stressed. So yeah, nourishing foods, making sure that I'm taking my supplements religiously, not falling back on them, and moving my body in some way that's going to be restorative for me. Really, really important. Number 6 is deep belly breathing. So I've talked about this in a lot of other videos that I've made. So if you know me at all, I'm very big on the old deep belly breathing. So that's kind of breathing from your diaphragm and inhaling, exhaling. I've kind of gone over that before, but really important just for bringing down that stress response and dealing with that feelings of overwhelm. And number 7, always, I lean heavily on my oils. So my 2 favorite oils to use during these times is frankincense, which is incredibly powerful for bringing down that stress response and dealing with those feelings of overwhelm. I quite often will just sniff it from the bottle or pop it in the diffuser. And the second one I like to use is Motivate, and this is beautiful. I wear it as a perfume. I just roll it on my pulse points, on my wrists, inhale it. Really, really good for keeping you on task, keeping you motivated, and just helping you bust through those plateaus and those blocks that are keeping you feeling stuck. So those are my tips. I hope that has been valuable for you. As always, reach out if you have any questions, and yeah, see you next time.